I just wanna be close to your heart. This is where my healing finds its start. Here is where I find my peace, where my soul is finally free. I'm going all in over my head. I'm not scared to get drenched in your love. Wherever you go, God, I will follow. I'm not scared to get lost in your love.
You know, if you study ultra runners, you'll find a story in most. There has to be a why. There has to be a why and something pushing us to run distances that would make a sane person question our sanity. You don't just go run 100 miles for the fun of it. To be honest, it's pretty crappy to run 100 miles. Deep down there has to be something that allows us to push through the deepest of and darkest of pain caves. In my case, I've got a story that turned into my testimony. Just before I got saved, God gifted me with running, and sometimes I can't help but wonder why running. You can take this race as a good example. This section behind me here. It simulates Karkloof quite well in terms of vertical gain per kilometer, and I would run up and down this fence. I built up to about 6 hours, so there was numerous hours, 4 hours runs, and there was a bunch of runs up and down. The kicker of it being it's 1.5. The fence is longer, but the section that simulates Karkloof is 1.5 kilometers that way, 1.5 kilometers back, and I would do this and repeat for up to 6 hours at a point. So in that moment, you do question why running, and then except for the why, you need people around you. There are guys out there in 100 miles. They do it on their own, and I'm really not strong enough for that. I need people around me. The cool thing about trail running in South Africa is there's a real strong sense of community.
Yes.
Laat niet zien daar.
Times and places are all in who you share them with, and it's life, and the point is enjoying who you share it with. Joy is who you share it with. And the weeks and the weekends are keeping close who you spend them with. And in time, what you find is the time is who you spend it with. Joy is who you share it with. Who you share it with. Who you share it with. Yeah, now it's a moment, and a home is who you share it with. I believe.
So runners, if you're taking these last few moments, please are finished to the start sheet. It is your time to shine. So I'm going to give you segments will be made between you and me. This is special.
Karkloof wasn't initially on my radar for the year. I'll give you a bit of a backdrop. I started running at the end of 2018, let's say the beginning of 2019. I had one speed, and this was most probably my addictive background, and it was go. And you could sort of put the puzzle together what God did with my running. But yeah, so that I think I did my first 32-kilometer race 3 months after I started, 3 or 4 months after I started running. My first marathon was September, and this was rapid. You know, kids don't try this at home. It's not smart at all. And with rapid growth like that or progression, there would be failures, and they came in the ultra space. And my first 100 miler I finished was Ultra Trail Drakensberg. But then in true form, in true Jacques Nel form, I went for the most difficult races in South Africa. I went for UTCT and MUT, and I failed those two. Yeah, a DNF feels like a 600-kilogram monkey just dropping squarely onto your back. It's horrible. And I was ready to get that monkey off quick. When I DNF'd MUT, I was like, if there was a race the next weekend, I was looking for a race. I was ready to go and get that disappointment away from me. And I was looking at what races was followed or was coming on the calendar, and there wasn't any. And the first one was Karkloof, which is about 4 months after MUT. So yeah, there we were. We were on the start line of Karkloof. And we really put in a lot of work to get there, and we were ready to take on the challenge.
Ladies and gents, this is the moment you've waited for.
It is the moment they've waited for.
Searching in the dark, this is probably the good on the floor.
Karkloof, let me hear you. We're going to set them up in a little bit. Runners, when you hear the gun, it is all you at 100 miles. Karkloof, let me hear you.
What's left behind? It's only this moment, don't care what comes after. Your favorite dream, can't you see it getting closer? Just surrender, cause you feel the feeling taking over. It's fire, it's freedom, it's fire. It's the picture in the bottom. There's something bigger in your picture. Everyone is talking all that you know. Tell me you wanna go. Ladies and gents, this is the moment you've waited for.
And they're off, ladies and gentlemen. Let's dance. It's your signal.
The first part of the race went smooth. Apart from some stomach cramps, it was going well, almost too well. And you had to check yourself the whole time in terms of pace. And I remember when I ran out in that first segment, I almost walked it directly because you can get caught up in the moment, and I was making sure that I was relaxed and low heart rate, a start slow, finish strong type of race.
No, it's not going through. Put it closer.
Make it.
It's een beetje verder. Een beetje verder. Een beetje verder.
Maar je is nog steeds op 5.
Ja, ja, ja.
Je is nog steeds op 5.
Ik denk dat ik de bakje moet gaan.
Kijk,
Het is baie mistig. Ja.
is het waar?
Hey?
Is het waar?
Ja, ik laat hem dat maar so kyk.
Soos met jou en hierdie?
Kyk so. So ek moet nou 5 ure is in die show.
Ja, dit is altyd die Barbie
Weer los.
Okay, guys, please can we clear up the extension a bit? Yeah, manager.
In a ultra, you definitely make friends, especially in the night time. People with the same pace generally stick together through the night. It's scary in the dark, so you need some Mikeys around you to take you through the night. And we were a good bunch of people. Megan and I, we ran together most of the night, and Frikkie, one of the race directors from Mac, he brought the vibe, and we were joking and laughing, and it makes such a big difference if there's a bunch of cool people around you. The kilometers just tick away so much faster, and that was the crowd. That was the crowd of the first night of Karkloof.
Dan, jy's mooi op tyd.
Don't worry about it. Sorry, I'm in your...
Ja, waar so dink ek?
Yeah.
O, hierdie kant. Sorry nou. Gooi ek julle op.
Sê jy? Ja, ja, nee, dit is goed. Het julle basketpyn of iets? Ja, ek sê van verskriklike krampe.
Krampe. Ek het die kinders se basketplan in die kar.
Bring dit asseblief.
Ek gaan gou
Wel nee, wel jy moet dis net water, ek dink hier is net water.
Kyk, hierdie een is niks, hè?
Ek dink dit.
Ja.
Ek sit nie.
Dis nie waar.
My mom. Ek doen goed.
Ja, jy doen baie goed. Jy lyk great vir 50 kg.
Ja, ek dink dis was smoothie want die hand kan ook gaan.
Hoe voel jy van?
Ja, goed.
Ja.
Seats.
Feels like bietjie movement, bietjie motion.
Ja, ek moet soek. Kom maar julle.
People set themselves up for failure when they read fast and runnable. It's still a trail. Karkloof has got 4,000 meters of vertical gain, and if you're going to tell yourself that it's fast and runnable, you'll definitely set yourself up for failure.
Hallo Frikkie. Hallo. Smaklik hier, ja. Mooi. Lekker klim. Ja. Video 'n bietjie af. Fast and runnable. Fast and runnable. Wat ons nou hier so doen.
Karkloof is plat.
Plat.
Dis die maklikste om net maar net kom hardloop.
Ja.
Want hy's plat.
Ja.
Kom dit hardloop is. Dis die een vir julle.
Ja, kyk hoe lekker is dit.
Hier is van 'n teerpad hier. Dit lyn en ver.
Ons is even bo die wolke daar. Nee. Dis nie eintlik wolke nie. Ek lieg. Dis maar net mis. Maar nog steeds, dit lyk impressive.
Mis nie wolke nie.
Ek het nie altyd skundig gehad nie. Of ek het dit gehad. Ek goed gedoen maar.
Hoe val dit dan?
Ja.
Kom van onder af van die wolk.
Op tegnies soos Frikkie. Ons is besig om te klim.
Dit mis is net laag. Wolke is hoog.
Ons is nie ultra runners omdat ons slim is nie.
Dit lyk wolke.
Ja.
Nie mis.
Hi Chuck.
Dis 84 kilo geweest. Dis verder.
Raar.
Ja. Ja. I met Reinhard at UTD and we became friends and trained together for UTCT and MUT. We did a lot of runs together. We did recce's down to both of those events. We meticulously planned and strategized for these races. But unfortunately, I didn't finish both. I didn't finish any of those races, and turned from athlete to supporter. And after MUT, Reinhard pulled one of the most selfless acts and put his running goals aside to come and support me from training all the way up to pacing. You're allowed to have 4 paces at Karkloof, and because you get on the turn halfway, the paces can go all the way to the finish with you. And he joined me for the whole segment, or the plan was for him to run from the start to the end with me, or from the half to the end with me, which is pretty awesome.
Ja, so met jou uitsies.
Geef hom hoenderballetjies, hy wil nie uitsien nie.
Wil hy nie
Hy wil
uitsies?
nie uitsien nie. Geef hom hoenderballe.
Jy gaan spyt wees jy het nie jou stok. Hoor hierso. Jy gaan so semi spyt wees jy het nie jou stokke nie.
Is dit? Is dat klim?
Ja.
Maar julle gaan nou afdron op daai slippers. Ek gaan mos nou afdron.
Ek wil graag in die wind moet draai. Kan jy maar bid?
Hoor jy is
Klink my Reina
staan nie maar buite. Baie mooi views. Hoor maar.
Jy's so lank. Gaan terug.
Omdat dit 'n video is. Nee,
Is jou video?
Ja,
Sit uit die video af.
Dis net 2,5. Nee,
Ek wou dit doen.
Ek gaan foto's neem. Maar dit sak. Ja, is lekker. Maar lekker, ja.
Ek het jou geluister, ek het mooi na my bene gekyk.
Ja, ek kyk baie swaar aan. So dit's net nou van die 20 uit.
Ja, lekker.
Nee, joke.
Ja.
Maar ek gaan ons daaroor praat.
Dis is 'n lekker fees. As jy vir 5 minute afkat op jou bereik.
So die race was 159, nee. So dis added nearly 2. Was dit die hele tyd? deurtevens. Megan, we gaan ook die e-mails deurtevens. We are very disappointed.
You are not there. Hij is great right now.
Iets wat kan
Nou te laat.
Wat kan
Ouma.
Niet eerst geen. Oh, jullie mooie hartstikke. Zie je daar? Goed voor de bus. Niet mooi hartstikke.
Jezus, zit nou net hier aangekomen.
Het is lekker warm nou hoor.
Ja. Hoi Rena.
Ja, met
Ik heb het in die kar. Als we dan even opmaken,
En Job, wat is dat?
Is dit net daai blaas, Job?
Ja, maar als we hem toeplak, kijk hier.
Eers om 'n boswerp opsit.
Just like. Ouch.
Ja, jullie moet niks. Nee, waarom? Kort die sand van mij af, anders ga ik nog krijgen. Kan ons een lampje of iets krijgen?
Dit jou flasks is reis gereed met jou flask. En dis al wat jy vat.
Ja, dat is fijn, dat is fijn.
Jy wil
En Job, wil je mij zelf een kussen doen?
Lijkt mij het moet, ja. Heb jij blazen?
Ik zie ook wel wat, kun je er voor uitpraten.
kry nou by rond bly.
En Job,
Kijk, sien jy by die huis? Ja, die laaste pypies.
Wat is ons nou? Wat is dat?
Bye. Bye.
Ek dink ook so. 'n bietjie water hê.
Nee, dat gaan ek 'n nippelrash kry.
Baie papa. Baie nee, sit weer so buite hoor. Mooi ry.
Okay.
Bye. You can do this.
Good luck.
Bye. Go, go, go. Good job.
Hallo, ek loop hardloop.
Dis die tyd waar hulle hardloop.
Ek sê vir nou, wat kyk baie mense nou weg. Ons is nou daar, so nou net van werk.
As hulle nou klaar.
Nee.
Nee, moenie af.
Laat my net verby.
Dis die papa, jy's bietjie vuil hoor.
Dis hy.
Dis is hier.
Daar van agteraf so.
Daarso reguit aan, reguit aan.
Daar van agteraf hoor.
Daar's van agteraf oom Jock.
Hi, Chuck.
We really prepared well for this race, and in my previous miler and attempts, I was always fighting cutoffs, and I was in this race. I was becoming more and more aware of where I was in the field and far away from cutoff. I knew I was maybe in the top half of the field, so already people passing me was not allowed. When I got to Bush Willow, I asked the guy there what number I was in, what position I was in, and he told me I was 17th. And yeah, there was, I must say, there was a little voice that popped into my head and said we might go racing. This is a completely new experience for me. In my training, I knew I could get to a top 10 spot in terms of the paces that I was training on. But that's your easy long runs for 40 kilometers. Can you hold it for 160 kilometers? That you would only find out in a race.
Hoe laat is dit nou? Ek dink hy lig.
Half 3. Ja, of ek gaan hom vir jou gee, miskat. Hulle gaan 6 uur daar ingaan. En dit raak vroeg donker.
Ja, so beter dat ek op saam met.
Ja, vat dit net saam vir ingeval daar sou, hè.
Kom maar ouens. Ry nou. Is 'n groot klim nou hier uit. So nie jy te sien die groot nie, maar vir hierdie reis is dit groot. So wat nou is my voet onder. Dit voet onder is seer hoor.
Is daar iets wat ek kan doen? Want jy het nou gesal vir wys en alles goed, dis nog reg. Ja.
Vang.
Cheers. Cheers. Julle twee. Daai was insane.
Ja,
toe maar, julle is daar.
Ons het nou nog 'n klim hier uit.
Ja.
En dan af. En dan is dit down stretch, baby.
Yes. Nice. There.
Down stretch.
Julle lyk goed, man.
Oh, Jesus, my skatte wel.
Hey.
Julle lyk goed.
I remember the first time I ran a non-stop 5K. It was a true milestone, believe me. Let me paint you the picture of the athlete. I was just emerging out of a 17-year-long dancehall stronghold with substance abuse and alcohol, attempting to run a non-stop 5 kilometer. It was about halfway through the run. I felt something deep in my spirit, and I felt sacrifice. So I listened to the inner calling and obediently sacrificed the run to God by not walking or resting. The final stretch happened to be like a uphill, and it took every ounce of me not to give in to the temptation of walking or stopping. But I made it, and it was an incredible encounter. With my limited knowledge of the Bible, I knew sacrifices were Old Testament, and Jesus was the ultimate sacrifice. I didn't understand why I felt this urge to sacrifice. And I got home and I took my Bible and I put it down because I didn't know where to find things in the Bible. So I took Google or my phone and I Googled sacrifice, and the first thing that popped up was this passage in the Bible, Romans 12 verse 1. A living sacrifice.
Okay, Romans 12 verse 1. A living sacrifice. I appeal to you therefore, brothers, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your spiritual worship.
Mind blown, I realized that maybe, just maybe, my run was a way of offering myself as a living sacrifice to God.
Is daar nog 'n uitspraak?
Maar nou moet ons in die finish ingaan. En dan gaan ons sien hoe maak dit almal klaar gemaak, hoe chill almal. En dan moet ons weer vir 21 km uitgaan.
Jy gaan nou finish toe
Ons gaan nou in die finish. Ons gaan in die finish in.
Ja. Dis 'n sadistiese storie, Reinhard.
Maar toe maar ons spreek lewe.
Come and fill this place. And I sing a wish, I so desire to gaze upon your beauty, God. And we will not rest.
There was a climb going out of that aid station, and with Romans 12 verse 1 fresh in my head, and that prayer straight into my legs, we were going to climb out of that aid station, and as soon as we dropped down, we were going racing.
Glory and wonder, here to cry out, come and fill this place, come and fill this place, this place, come and fill this place, oh this place, come and fill this place, oh this place, oh we wait for you to come and show your glory here today. God, we wait for you to come and show your glory here today. Oh, we wait for.
We passed about 4 runners, I think, in that last segment, and we were moving. And it was confirmed by one of the runners as we passed him. He's like, "You guys are cruising," and yeah.
Come and show your glory here today, and we wait for you. God, we wait for you. Lord, we wait for you. God, we wait for you.
God has been using running to reveal and teach me so many things. Here he was teaching me about sacrifice and about cost. There is no doubt that there are cost and sacrifices in your journey with Jesus and in life. The principle became evident to me during my early days of my walk in faith. I've experienced numerous of revelations through my running, and not only in my spiritual journey, but also in my personal life and in my business endeavors. Just a few months after I embarked on this journey, our lives were completely turned upside down by the COVID pandemic. I shudder to think where I might have ended up if it weren't for this. During this time, I was being equipped with a mindset of a mindset geared towards endurance. I've learned the valuable lesson that failure is not only inevitable but necessary. These wise words that I received after facing disappointment by mud just stuck by me, and the key is to come back, learn from your mistakes, reflect on them, make corrections, and ultimately overcome the challenges.
We wait for you to come and show your glory here today. We wait for you to come and show your glory.
That's a fast segment for a section. That was incredibly fast for the section.
What's that?
George, please tap, please tap.
Please tap, please tap. Oh, last tap.
Finish the cap, and tomorrow we'll give you a nice piece of metal, eh? Yeah, that's what you want. That's what you really want.
Kry papa op een.
Hallo.
My last section is torture. I think he's a menage. I think you're top 10, eh?
Wow.
You're number 10.
Number 10.
Top 10.
Well done.
Hey, hoe voel jij?
Terrible.
En hoeveelste nommer is jij?
I just top 10 by Karkloof.
Yay!
Apparently, marking a comeback.